Dear child, angels want you to pause for a moment and breathe. There is a calm presence around you right now, even if your emotions feel heavy or confused. This message is not finding you by accident. It is reaching you because your heart has been sensing a shift long before your mind could explain it. Something is changing, and the reason you feel restless, alert, or quietly expectant is because movement has already begun behind the scenes. Lately, you may have felt like the air around you is different. Not loud, not dramatic, but charged in a subtle way. A feeling that something important is lining up. You may have tried to ignore it, distract yourself, or convince yourself that you are overthinking. But it keeps returning. That's because your intuition is responding to something real. This isn't imagination. It's awareness. In the spiritual sense, there is a clear image. A suitcase is open. Someone is standing over it, not rushing, not careless, but intentional. This is not packing for a short visit or a temporary escape. This is packing for a life change. This is the kind of packing someone does when they know they cannot keep living the way they have been living. They are preparing to move forward, and that movement is deeply connected to you. They are not just putting clothes into a bag. They are gathering courage. They are gathering honesty. They are gathering the parts of themselves they kept hidden for too long. They are packing unspoken words, apologies they rehearsed silently, and truths they were afraid to face. Their hands may be steady, but inside, their heart is trembling not from fear alone, but from love mixed with realization. They have reached a point where doing nothing hurts more than risking everything. For a long time, they resisted this. They tried to convince themselves they could move on. They tried to believe that time would erase what they felt. They distracted themselves with work, people, noise, and routines. They told themselves that distance would make things easier. But it didn't, because real connection does not fade just because it is ignored. Silence did not weaken it. Time did not erase it. Instead, it grew heavier, deeper, and more undeniable. They kept being pulled back to you in small ways. A song that reminded them of you. A dream where your presence felt real. A random moment where your name surfaced without warning. They may not have spoken to you, but they were never truly away from you in their heart. They fought it because they were afraid of being vulnerable, afraid of being rejected, afraid of not being enough, afraid of opening something they didn't know how to handle properly. But something shifted. A moment came when the fear of losing you became stronger than the fear of facing you. They realized that if they kept delaying, they might lose the chance completely. Not the fantasy of you, but the real possibility of building a life with you. That realization changed everything. It turned hesitation into decision. This is why the energy feels different now. This is why your intuition has been louder. Because the inner debate has ended. They are no longer stuck between what if and maybe someday. They have moved into clarity. They are choosing action over avoidance. They are choosing truth over comfort. At the same time, what once blocked this connection is being removed. Confusion is lifting. Old fears are losing control. Circumstances that cause delay are shifting. It's like a road that was once closed is slowly being cleared. What felt impossible before is now becoming accessible. What felt stuck is starting to move. This is not meant to make you anxious. You are not being asked to chase, wait in fear, or prepare through panic. The preparation being asked of you is peaceful preparation, a quiet readiness, an open heart without desperation, a grounded presence that trusts what is aligned will arrive without force. They are not coming with empty words this time. They are not coming to test the waters or repeat old patterns. They are coming with intention, with effort, with proof. They are tired of shallow connections and distractions. They want something real, something steady, something lasting. They want commitment, not confusion, presence, not distance. They have been changing in ways you may not fully see yet. People around them may notice they seem more serious, more focused, less interested in their old life. They are letting go of distractions. They are making space. They are clearing room in their life and in themselves. Their heart is already packed. Now their actions are catching up. You may not realize how much your strength affected them. The way you carried yourself with dignity, the way you didn't beg or force, the way you stayed true to yourself even when you were hurting. That quiet strength spoke louder than words. It made them realize you are not someone to take lightly. You are not replaceable. You are not meant to be handled carelessly. They may now be afraid they waited too long. They may be wondering if you moved on, if they missed their chance. That fear is pushing them to act, because they finally understand that real love cannot be left on pause forever. It must be honored. You may feel this before it happens outwardly. A calm alertness, a deep sense of knowing, a peace mixed with readiness. That is your intuition aligning with movement. And when it happens, it may feel sudden, not because it was rushed, but because it was forming quietly for a long time. They will not arrive as the same person you once knew. They have been humbled, refined, and awakened. You may notice maturity, steadiness, and seriousness that wasn't there before. And most of all, you will feel peace. Because real alignment does not feel chaotic. It feels clear. It feels grounded. It feels true. You are not crazy for sensing this. You are not foolish for believing the connection wasn't over. You are not imagining the shift. Something is moving. Someone is choosing. Someone is preparing. The season of delay is giving way to action. Remain calm. Remain open. Let what comes meet you with consistency, not just emotion. With effort, not just words. With clarity, not confusion. And if it arrives unexpectedly, don't be afraid. Sometimes what is meant for you moves quietly until it is suddenly right in front of you. There are times in life when everything inside begins to feel urgent. Not because the world is rushing, but because the soul has reached its limit with pretending. This message carries that kind of weight. It speaks of a love that cannot stay hidden any longer, a connection that refuses to remain unfinished. It is not loud on the outside, but it is powerful on the inside. It is the kind of bond that lingers through silence, distance, and time, growing quieter yet stronger, waiting for honesty to finally meet it. This is not about someone making a casual decision or acting on a sudden impulse. It is about someone who has tried every possible way to avoid facing their truth. They tried convincing themselves that life would move on without you. They tried to believe that time alone would dull the feelings. They tried staying busy, staying distracted, staying emotionally guarded. But even with all that effort, something never settled inside them. There was always a sense that something was missing, something unresolved, something unfinished. They may have smiled on the outside while feeling empty on the inside. They may have appeared strong while quietly aching. They may have told themselves they were fine, but deep down, they knew they weren't. Because when a connection is real, it does not disappear simply because it is inconvenient. It does not fade just because someone is afraid. It waits, and waiting can be painful. The more they tried to ignore what they felt, the more it surfaced in unexpected ways. A memory would appear at the wrong time. Your name would cross their mind without warning. A song would hit their chest when they least expected it. A dream would bring your face so close it felt real. These moments were not meant to torment them, but to soften them, to break down the walls they built to protect themselves from vulnerability. Eventually, something shifted. It may not have been dramatic. It may have been quiet and deeply personal. A moment alone. A night when sleep wouldn't come. A realization that life was moving forward and they were still standing still emotionally. A fear crept in, not the fear of rejection, but the fear of regret. The fear of looking back one day and realizing they never fought for what truly mattered. That fear did not come to destroy them. It came to wake them up. At some point, they found themselves needing to speak your name out loud, to bring you out of their private thoughts and into real conversation. They may have gone to someone they trust, someone whose words carry wisdom and grounding, not to seek permission, but to seek clarity. And when they finally shared how they felt, the truth became impossible to deny. Your name did not feel like confusion. It felt like certainty. It felt like peace. What they feel with you is not built on excitement alone. It is built on safety, on familiarity that feels deeper than logic, on a sense of being understood without explanation. That kind of connection does not come often. And when it does, it cannot be replaced with something easier or more convenient. They tried alternatives. They tried other paths. But nothing carried the same calm weight as the thought of you. Nothing silenced the inner restlessness the way your presence did. They realized that peace is not loud, but it is unmistakable. And peace kept pointing back to you. This is where decision replaces hesitation, where thinking turns into action, where silence begins to feel heavier than speaking. They no longer want to hold love quietly inside. They no longer want to be brave only in their thoughts. They want to show up in reality, with honesty, accountability, and effort. They are aware of what they failed to do before. They know there were moments they could have spoken and didn't, times they could have chosen courage and chose fear instead. That awareness humbles them. It changes the way they approach you now. This is not playful energy. It is careful. It is serious. It is respectful. They are not coming to see if feelings still exist. They are coming because they already know they do. They are not coming to test your heart. They are coming to offer theirs fully and without excuses. They have rehearsed conversations not to manipulate, but to prepare themselves to be honest. They have cried privately because vulnerability feels terrifying. They have prayed not just for an outcome, but for integrity, for the courage to do this the right way. This is why this connection feels spiritual to them. Not because it is perfect, but because it requires growth. It requires surrender. It requires facing parts of themselves they avoided for a long time. They asked for clarity, and instead of feeling blocked, they felt guided forward. Not pushed violently, but nudged steadily. Like a door slowly opening. Signs, dreams, and inner confirmations may have played a role, but more than that, it was the quiet knowing that wouldn't leave them alone. The kind of knowing that doesn't shout but persists. The kind that waits patiently until the heart is ready to listen. Now they are done hiding. Done making excuses. Done waiting for conditions to be perfect. They understand that perfect moments do not arrive on their own. They are created through courage. So this message speaks to preparation. Not preparation driven by fear or anticipation, but preparation rooted in grounding. Because when something real arrives, it can stir emotions that were buried for survival. Old wounds can resurface. Old doubts can whisper. And that is why steadiness matters. You are invited to prepare your heart by staying centered. To prepare your space by keeping peace around you. To prepare your spirit by remaining honest with yourself. Because love that returns should not be met with panic or pressure, but with clarity and discernment. If you have waited a long time for someone to show up consistently, this message honors that waiting. You were not wrong for wanting stability. You were not unrealistic for wanting commitment. You were not asking for too much. You were asking for something real. And if someone returns, they must meet you where you are now, not where you used to be. Emotion alone is not enough. Consistency matters. Responsibility matters. Time will always reveal what words cannot. A true return is patient. It does not demand immediate trust. It understands that trust is rebuilt, not assumed. It does not rush healing. It respects boundaries. It values peace over drama. This is not about excitement that burns quickly. It is about something steady that lasts. Not about fantasy, but about building something grounded. Something that feels safe instead of chaotic. They are choosing you over ease. Choosing growth over comfort. Choosing courage over old patterns. That choice required inner work. It required letting go of pride and accepting humility. And for you, this message is also a reminder of your strength. You do not need to chase. You do not need to convince. You do not need to abandon yourself to be loved. You are allowed to observe, to ask questions, to move slowly, to protect what you have healed. If they speak, you can listen calmly. If they apologize, you can receive without rushing forgiveness. If they promise, you can allow time to confirm truth. You are not cold for being cautious. You are wise. Sometimes delays were not punishment. They were protection. Sometimes distance allowed growth. Sometimes silence allowed clarity. Sometimes time was needed so both hearts could mature enough to hold what they were asking for. So, if life begins to shift, do not dismiss it as imagination. Sometimes people really do change when they finally face themselves. At its core, This message is about closeness, about choosing presence over distance, truth over silence, action over regret. They want to be near you because being away no longer feels tolerable. Silence feels heavier than vulnerability, and regret feels worse than fear. Remain grounded. Remain prayerful. Remain clear.